Welcome to the Gail Estella survival podcast. Where pain becomes purpose, no fear, no remorse. Say it again. Through the pain, through the fire, through the worst of my day. We made it, we made it. I found purpose in the breaking. Right there. Survival isn't a whisper. I know. Go if you listen, you'll survive. Still breathing, still alive. God never wastes the hurting. Every chapter had a rolling time.
Gail Estella, and welcome to the Gail Estella Survival Podcast.
From pain comes purpose. No fear, no remorse. Survival isn't a whisper. Through the worst of my day. And some breakers in no whisper. It's a raw.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gail Estella Survival Podcast. Here's where we turn pain into purpose, because survival isn't a whisper, it's a roar. And before we get started, there's a couple of things I need from you. The first thing is, will you please go and like, share, and subscribe to the Gail Estella Survival Podcast? Secondly, where are you tuning in from? I'm here in Aiken, South Carolina. Put in the comment box below where you're tuning in from. Are you following me on all of my social media platforms? If not, please do so at Gail Estella. And lastly, Through It All by Gail Estella. Have you purchased your copy yet? If you haven't, it's not too late. You can go to TrueVinePublishingCompany.org, Amazon.com, or anywhere books are sold. Oh, this is going to be a good episode. A friend of mine, DeMorris Robinson, called me. He said, I got this lady I want you to meet. I heard her speak today at church and she's awesome. A friend of mine, DeMorris Robinson, called me. He said, I got someone I want you to meet. I'm going to put the two of you in contact with each other. And after we talked, and I listened to her story, and I listened to her faith and her perseverance and her strength, ooh, she inspired me. She gave me hope, that it doesn't matter what we go through, that we can be okay, that we will survive. Minister Crystal Calhoun.
Hey, Gail, how are you today?
I am doing well. How are you?
I am doing simply amazing.
You look amazing.
And you do too. You look gorgeous.
Thank you. And thank you for agreeing. Thank you for agreeing to be a part of this podcast and to share your story, because after I talked to you, I walked away thinking, she's just courageous. She's just bold in your faith. I was in awe of your story.
Listen, God is so amazing. I think sometimes we don't give him enough credit for all he do. And when you're grateful, it's just like, okay, I got it. I'm grateful. I know that I have purpose. And so when you take, like you said in your intro, turning your pain into your purpose. So that's the one thing that I think that we all can agree that we need to do more of, turning our pain into our purpose.
I agree. You are a 4-time cancer survivor. Not 1, and not 2, and not 3.
No, 4. 4
times.
Yes.
And we're going to get back to this, but something just happened on October the 23rd.
Yes.
Tell the audience what happened.
So I rung the bell for the 3rd time. And I know people are like, wait a minute. You said you are a 4-time cancer survivor. How are you ringing the bell for the 3rd time? Because one of the diagnoses, we just did surgery. So we didn't do anything else. We thought removing the tumor would be good and that would suffice. So that's the reason I'm a 4-time survivor and a 3-time bell ringer. So yes, October the 23rd, we rung the bell for the third and final time. It is
Third
big.
and final time. I
Okay.
stand and agree. I stand and agree, and congratulations.
Thank
And before we get into your story, tell us a little bit about who you are now, because I saw that you said something on Facebook, getting back to the old Crystal. Who was Crystal before the cancer diagnosis?
Oh, so Crystal, before the cancer diagnosis, she is a entrepreneur. She is a part of the clergy. So I am a minister. I am a certified master mindset life coach. I am a mother of 3 amazing adult children, Arturo, Samyetta, and Jamisa, waiting to be a grandmother, but right now I'm a pet grandmom. So I have grand pups, and grand cats. So that's who I am. I've been in financial leadership 16 years now. So I work in the financial service. I also, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a jewelry business. So just getting back to those things that I absolutely love to do. And dancing, bowling, singing, karaoke, just those fun things that a person loves to do. So I believe in living a very balanced life. You be who you are in Christ, and then you go have a little fun.
Christ first, and then a little fun. So take the audience back to the first cancer diagnosis. How old were you when you were first diagnosed?
35.
You were young.
I was young. I was a 35 single mom of 3 at that time, and my kids were younger because it was 2008. So that was my very first diagnosis with breast cancer. The first cancer was breast cancer. So I know that the doctors tell you that you shouldn't have mammograms until the age of 40, but I was 35. And that we found was stage 3. So I wouldn't have made it to the age of 40. So, yeah, it was a self-exam.
Okay.
Well, that's what I tell people. It's important to examine yourself. My fiance at that time, he found it and he was like, babe, I think I feel something. I was like, no, because, as African-American women, we have what they call dense breasts.
Yes.
So you have dense breasts. You may have a couple of innocent fibroids in your breast and that kind of thing. And so I'll never forget it. I was in the shower. I heard the Holy Spirit say, feel again. And I felt it. And then I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. And I know that a lot of people will ask, well, Crystal, what did it feel like? How did you know? The best way I can describe it is, for me, it felt like somebody had took a piece of charcoal and just stuck it in my breast. It was hard. It was big, it didn't move. And I was used to, the lumps that I did have moving and smaller. They kind of rolled around. Well, this one didn't do that. And so I made an appointment. They got me in, and the next thing I know, I was going to this specialist and this specialist and this specialist. And I remember telling him, I said, I think I got cancer. It's something wrong with me. And then he was like, don't you say that. I was like, no, but I didn't saw so many doctors in 1 week. And I just knew that wasn't normal. And actually, November the 6th, what's today? November the 4th. In 2 days, I found out November the 6th, 2008, that I had breast cancer.
And you said you went to a couple of doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So did any of them give you a mammogram? Did any of you give you any x-rays or MRI?
That's exactly what they was giving me. The first one I went to, she gave me a mammogram. She gave me, and then when she saw it, because it was just like a health department appointment. And she saw it, she was like, okay, so I have to send you to a specialist. I see something, and they couldn't really tell what it was. So I did a mammogram with them. Then the next doctor, I did a mammogram with him. And he was like, okay, so I think I'm going to have to send you out. So then the next one said, okay, so I saw all the scans and I saw everything that they saw. Let me do a biopsy. And then I was like, okay. And so the biopsy, usually biopsies take, sometimes up to a week. I think this one came back in like 2 days because he put a rush on it. So, to have all of these doctors looking. And you know how doctors do, they don't say anything. They just say we see something, but they don't say, hey, we think it's cancer. They just say, we see something and we're going to refer you out to a specialist. So everybody was referring me out. And then when he took the biopsy, they had that kind of thing. And all the scans, the sonograms that they do, they did all that. It was just too many of them. And I was like, wait a minute, nobody is telling me anything. They're like, when we get the results, we'll make sure we call you when we get the results and let you know what the results say. But nobody was giving me a concrete answer. And so I was like, yeah, it's something wrong.
So what was your emotional and mental state at that time?
I was so busy being mom, because like I said, I was a single mom, and what I was, Lord, don't let nothing happen to me, because what's going to happen to my kids? Yes. That's all I was thinking about. What's going to happen to my kids if something is wrong with me? Like who's going to step up and take care of my kids, and who's going to be there for my kids? And so that's all I was thinking about. I was like, Lord, please don't let nothing happen to me, because I'm all my kids got. And so, when you're a mom, the first thing you don't even think about yourself. The first thing you do would be like, what's going to happen to my kids?
Yes, that's true.
So that's the mind frame that I was in. What is going to happen to my kids if something happened to me?
And then you received the diagnosis.
I did. I received the diagnosis, and the hardest thing was telling my children and my family. I'm youngest of 6 on my mom's side. And to have to tell all my brothers and sisters, they told me I have cancer, and it's not genetic. Nobody in my family has ever had breast cancer. Nobody has ever had ovarian cancer. So it wasn't something that got passed down through the genes. And having to tell my children and reassure them, mom is okay. Yeah. Life is fixing to look a little different, but I'm not giving up. And I'm going to fight, and we're going to get through it. And cancer is not going to take your mom from you. So
were you scared initially? What were your thoughts? Did you cry? When they said cancer? Because, a lot of times when we hear the word cancer, most people think about it as being a death sentence. Yeah. And I remember I interviewed one of my friends. She's a 3-time cancer survivor. And she said, cancer is one word. It is not a sentence.
Yes.
And a lot of times we give it all of this power. So when they said cancer, can you remember how you felt at that time? Or did you kind of knew that's what it was?
I kind of knew something was wrong. I remember my fiance went with me because I was like, I need you to go so you can hear. I tell everybody, it's always good to take a second set of ears with you to the appointment, because anything can happen and then you miss out, because I was in shock. I remember I was sitting on that table and I almost went back to a kid. My feet was kicking and he was like, babe, are you okay? And I'm like, did he really just tell me I got cancer? Like, he said, and he was like, yeah, babe, that's what he said. It's almost like I had an out of body experience, because I was like, I know this man didn't just tell me, that I got cancer. And so I cried for just a little bit in the car. And I called one of my brothers, and I remember my brother, he was like, okay, so are you going to fight or are you going to die? Because those are the only choices you got.
Oh, yeah.
And so when he said that, it was like something in me snapped. And I was like, okay, so we don't have time to be emotional. We don't have time to cry. I'm headed home to tell my kids, if they see me broken down and crying, that's going to put fear in them, and they're going to they're already going to be scared. So I have to deal with their emotions. So I need to get mine in check. So I cried on almost all the way home. And then we got home and we told them, and then the fight began. So I just feel like when you're going through, like, I feel the emotions, but I don't have time to sit in the emotions, if that makes sense. I think as a human, you're supposed to feel the emotion. You're supposed to feel sometimes the fear. You're going to feel the scaredness of it all. But if you plan on fighting, and if you're planning on winning the fight, you don't have time to sit. I didn't have time to sit in the why me. I didn't have time to sit in the, oh my God, am I going to die? I've never once thought that I was going to die. Even though I have gone through this 4 different times, I never once thought that I was going to die. I remember telling somebody, when you hear God say, this is not unto death, and I heard God say all 4 times, like, this is not unto death. You have to stand on the promises of God. And that was a promise that he made me, that I was not going to die from cancer. So I was like, okay, so that means we're fighting.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. So what were your treatments the first time?
So the first time my treatments was chemo, radiation. And when I first met my doctor, so when I first got diagnosed, I lived in Montgomery, Alabama. So my cancer center was in Montgomery. And I remember meeting my doctor, and usually how it goes surgery, chemo, radiation. And so my doctor told me, he said, you know, I know this is hard, but you're going to end up having to have a mastectomy. We're going to end up having to remove your breast. And then I said, okay. And he said, but listen, we can try to do it differently. We can do chemo, then see what that does, and then we can do the rest. And I was like, okay, but am I going to have to do it again? Because I was like, I just don't do chemo twice. And he was like, no, you're just going to do it one time. Well, with the grace of God, the chemo ended up tremendously shrinking the lump. So instead of having a mastectomy, I was able to get a lumpectomy. So they just removed the lump itself. So we were able to save my breast in that fight. And believe it or not, which is a really, really long time in the cancer world and in the health world, I was 16 years cancer free before I got diagnosed again.
Yeah. And so they were able to save your breast.
Yes.
But you lost your hair.
I did lose that hair.
So talk about that. Talk about how was it for you to lose your hair?
So I am a different hairstyle kind of girl. So I've always wore weave and wigs, short and long, you know, so I was always a different hairstyle kind of girl. I never liked being the same. Even now, I don't like, you know, being the same. But at 35, I was like, okay, so I can just go and, you know, they told me, he said, after the first treatment, you're going to lose your hair. And so I was like, okay, well, let me go cut it down to a little afro. And so I went to the barber and I cut it down to a little bitty afro. It had, you know, just about this much of hair on my head. And so I was like, okay, you know, I'm prepared to lose my hair. But I wasn't prepared to lose my hair. I was not prepared to lose my hair. Like, it was so, at 35, it was so traumatizing because I was sitting on my bed. First treatment. It was really the first treatment. And I was watching TV with my children, and I just did like this. I was like, and clumps of hair came out in my hand. And I was like, so I just started doing it like this to see if it was, you know, when you go in shock, you just do all kind of stuff. And so I was like, I'm really losing my hair. And so from where I had picked it all over my head, which made it look 1,000 times worse. But the shock of it just coming out of my hand. And so I heard my kids, they had went into my son's room, and I heard him say, Mom, hey, Mom look real sick. Y'all think she gonna die? And I said, and that just broke my heart. So I called my barber. I said, hey, I need you to do me a favor. And he was like, what? And I said, I'll come and talk to you. And so when I went and I told him, I said, hey, you know, I'm finna go through chemo. I'm going through chemo. I need you to cut my hair off for me. Yeah. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I need you to cut me bald. Like, I need you to go ahead and do it for me. And as a woman, you like, oh my God, I'm bald headed, so I immediately went and bought some wigs. I had some wigs and I was like, yeah, I'm bald headed. My fiance was like, listen, you fighting for your life. You don't need no hair, that kind of thing. But I was like, I'm still a girl and I need hair, But now, when I lost my hair this time, I went back to my barber here in Charlotte and I was like, cut my hair off.
Yes.
And she was like, I don't want to cut. I was like, and I had one of my girlfriends with me this time, and her and the barber was so emotional because they're my friends.
Yes.
And they was so emotional. She was crying. My emotional support was crying. My barber was crying. I was like, listen, if I'll give me the clippers and I'll start it off for you. And I'm going to cut it in a way that you have to cut my hair off. But they was so emotional about it. This was the third time. So they were so emotional because they was like, we don't know how you're feeling. But I tell everybody, the 35-year-old Crystal and the 50-something-year-old Crystal, like, my confidence is through the roof.
Yes,
and I'm
like, person.
And I'm like, listen, it is hair. I got some hair at home in the drawer. I don't care about this hair. I am fighting for my life. And eventually the 35-year-old Crystal got that way and she started pulling the wigs off. I was like, I don't care, what nobody say. I don't care how nobody think about it, baby. I am fighting for my life. I got a wig at home. I can wear wigs anytime I want to. So just the fact that that transition, I said, sometimes the enemy come in to try to steal, not sometimes, all the time he come in to try to steal, kill, and destroy. And so me going to cut it off, not prompt at all. I was like, let's go. We know it's going to fall out. Right. Go ahead and cut it off. Yeah. Don't give the enemy any kind of
you have the power.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I went to cut it off and I've been bald ever since. And that was October.
I used to have a group, Gail Estella Presents the Bald, Bold, and Beautiful. And it was for any woman that decided they wear their hair bald by circumstances or choice. Yours would have been circumstances. And the motto was to uplift, empower, and strengthen women to know that they are beautiful with or without hair. Because so many of us as women, we were taught your hair is your glory. Your hair is what makes you. My own insecurities came because I didn't have long hair. And when you're talking about the power, I can remember clients coming in because I'm a retired cosmetologist, and clients would come in and I would always allow them to take the first step. Like you did. That's giving them their power. And then I would go in. And like you said, once we take our power back or hold on to our power, the enemy can't do anything.
He can't. And I was like, okay, girl, you so cute. Put them lashes.
Yes, and you are. And then I think it just gives you a boost of confidence because now you're looking at you.
Yes.
Naked. I like to say naked, I can't cover up. I can't hide my head. Nothing's covering my face. I have to look at all of me. And that does something to your confidence as well.
Yes, I've had so many people say, "Are you gonna let your hair grow back?" I was like, "Y'all know it's cold. Like, your hair really does cover your head." I was like, "Y'all know how cold I be. Like when I go to bed at night, I have to put a hat on. Like I'm cold. I might stay short, but y'all let a little bit of something come back on." And they was like, "But you like your mama." And they was like, "You have the perfect size head." I have men that tell me that. Why is your head? I was like, my mama knew. She just, but I was like, I don't know, but it was like, it did not affect my self-esteem. It did not. I think the first time it was so traumatizing for me because it was just falling out in clumps and I was but now I was like, let's get this off. We got life to fight.
Yeah, we got bigger things to think about.
I can go in there in my drawer and put on some hair today.
Yes. So you were cancer-free for 16 years.
16 years. 16.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
So within a 16-year span, does one feel I'm good. I've beat this. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Did you feel that way?
I did. I did.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I'm good. It's 16 years is a really long time.
It is.
And I was like, okay, we good. We ain't got to worry about it. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
So much has happened in my life in 16 years. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I was seeing my doctor once a year like I was supposed to, making sure I'm checking in, making sure I'm feeling, that kind of thing. But 16 years is a long time.
It is a long time. And something happens.
Something happens. Well, in between that was the ovarian cancer. So I got diagnosed with ovarian cancer in June of 23. So that was the second occurrence. I got a random stomach ache and I went to urgent care, got mixed diagnosed at urgent care, and ended up going to the ER the next morning. And when I got there, my goddaughter was with me. And when I got there, I was like, listen, my stomach is bothering me. And I was like, and it's headed somewhere it don't need to go. Because by then I had a partial hysterectomy and everything by then. And I was like, it's something not right. And so she listened. And she said, okay, we're going to do scans. We're going to check out everything and we're going to see what's going on. And I said, okay. And so she came back and she said, so we see a mass in your stomach. We see some kind of tumor in your stomach. And, I had just moved to Charlotte like a year prior. I thought I was just putting on happy weight. I was like, I need to get in the gym. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy to be in Charlotte. I'm just outside. Everywhere in the Queen City, just living my little good life. And I just thought, okay, you putting on a little weight, girl. You got to hit the gym. Go in there and do some sit-ups. And that was not what I was expecting her to say. I don't know what I thought I was expecting her to say, but that definitely wasn't it. And so I remember a couple of days later, looking at my paperwork, and I noticed that the referral that she sent was to a OBGYN at the Cancer Center. And I said, wait a minute, did I miss something?
Yes.
Oh my God, darling. And I was like, hey, I know I was in shock, but did this lady say anything about cancer? Did you hear her? She was like, no. And I was like, oh God, not again. I remember saying, God, not again.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely no. And so I ended up going to the cancer center and she was like, yeah, we see something. We're going to do a biopsy, get a couple of sonograms. And that was the first ovarian cancer diagnosis. But like I said, we just did surgery. We removed the tumor. She did the full hysterectomy at that point. And she was like, okay, we should be good. I was like, okay, well, that was simple. Thank you, God. I'm like, okay, God, just a little recovery.
No other treatments, just the surgery.
No other treatments.
Yes.
Surgery. And I was like, thank God, your girl didn't want to go through that no more. So we were good. We was good until September 2024.
A year later.
And it was just going back home to Alabama because I never changed my doctor. So I still was with the same doctor of 17 years. I never changed doctors. Anytime I had to have an appointment, I drove. If I was living in a different state, I drove back to Montgomery, Alabama. And so I remember going and having my mammogram. And of course, now you get the 3D mammograms and everything. And so the call came in and they was like, they actually that day, they was like, something looks a little strange. So the doctor want to come in and, do the sonogram herself. And we want to get a couple of more pictures. And then I was like, oh, okay, all right, let's go, that kind of thing. But then the call came in a couple of weeks later. Hey, we need you to come back. We see something that we don't like. We want to do a biopsy. And so I was like, okay, I can do that, And so what happened is the spot that they end up seeing end up being non-cancerous, but it was a little bitty spot behind it that they saw. And I remember them saying, we really don't think it's anything. And I said, okay. And she said, but if it'll make you feel better, we'll do a biopsy. And I said, make me feel better.
Yes.
Make me feel better. And lo and behold, it was the spot that they really didn't think that was anything. And I asked them to make me feel better. That was cancerous.
So we're going to stop right there. 1 time, 2 times, then you're coming up on your 3rd time.
Yes.
And you said, make me feel better. How important is it for us to advocate for our bodies and to advocate for ourselves, especially us as the Black community, because there's so many disparities, and you know this. Black women die of breast cancer. I don't know the statistics, but I know it's a larger rate, and I should have had the statistics, but we all know it's at a larger rate. You know, anything that you can think of, it affects us at an alarming rate more than it does any other nationality.
Yes.
How important is it for the patient to advocate?
I can't stress that enough. Make them listen to you. If you have a doctor that you feel like is not listening to you, change your doctor. Change your doctor. That doctor is there for you. Any questions that you have. And I tell people now, because I help a lot of cancer patients now, and I tell people now, write your questions down. Because when you're in the middle of it, sometimes you can't think as good as when you came out of that situation and you say, oh my God, I should have asked my doctor that. Or you're sitting and you're thinking. Write those questions down and take them to the doctor with you. I always have a second set of ears when you go to the doctor. I always have somebody with you. And that way they can hear the conversation and you can hear the conversation. They may have had, because the words are coming to you. So you're in your emotions and you're feeling a way about what they're telling you that you're having to do. And your life is fixing to completely change. Have somebody else with you that can hear what the doctor said in case you missed it. But advocate for yourself. If your body tells you if something is wrong, listen to it and make whoever your doctor is listen to it as well.
Make them accountable.
Yeah, make them listen to you. I know a lot. I have been blessed. My doctors listen to me. If I tell them something is off, they will listen. We're going to get scans. We're going to get tests. They listen. And I'm blessed with my 2 doctors. But some people are not so lucky.
Yes.
And have a person, if you don't feel like you can stand up for yourself, take a person that
someone else should do it for you.
take a person that's outspoken. That will say, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
You need to, if you feel like, you know, that you're really passive and you don't feel like you have that assertiveness, because I won't say it's aggression, it's assertiveness. If you feel like you're not assertive, then take somebody that you know who is.
Yes.
So they can speak up and tell them, hey, wait a minute, she had a question and she needs to ask you this question. So we have to, in every situation, especially where our health is concerned, you have to be your biggest advocate.
And the statistic is, excuse me, Black women die 3 times more than white women of breast cancer. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so you get the diagnosis the 3rd time of the breast cancer. What is going on in your mind this time?
I know this didn't happen again.
Yes.
Oh, I ain't finna go through this again. It cannot be. And so I told somebody, I said, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was at America's Best, finna get me some contacts because I was finna again. This was August, September. So I was finna get ready to live this good life in Charlotte, baby, outside. I believe in being outside. And I remember her calling and she saying, Miss Crystal, I don't want to have to tell you this. Definitely don't want to have to tell you this over the phone. but that spot was cancer. And I was like, now that I cried, because I was like, oh man, like for real. And she was like, yeah. And so the first thing I was like, ugh, then I have to tell my kids again. Third time. Then I have to tell my family again. It's the third time. And because I'm already the youngest, they're already overprotected. So now I told them 3 times. They sister's gonna have to go through something else. And so I made the difficult phone calls, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I don't have the questions, they ask, why do you keep getting it, and what's going on, and I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to that. I have to.
What's wrong? Why does this keep happening to you?
Yes. I'm like this, and I'm trying to hold it in the road. I don't know, And so, but it was that day when I found out that I said, I don't care what it is, I'm going to have a double mastectomy. I didn't.
Again, taking your power back.
Yeah. And that wasn't even that wasn't an option. I told them yes. They was trying to say, well, we can do this and you can do, but the first time it was in the left one. The second time it came back in the right one. I was like, I can't live the life that God has destined for me to live, running back and forth and allowing cancer to play ping pong.
Yes, with you. Yes.
And I was in my 50s, and I was like, okay, so that was a good 16-year run. I said, but that means that if it was to try to come back, I'm trying to save this for vain or the look of it all. If it comes back, I'll be almost 70. Do I want to do this at 70?
70. Ooh, that is so powerful. That is so powerful. During that time, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, did you ever question God? Did you ever say, why me, God? Were you ever angry with God? Tell us about your conversations, that pillow talk that you had with God.
I don't think I was angry. I was angry the first time because I was like, I'm 35. Married yet, my body is spinning. Who gonna want a woman with one breast, God, and that thing. But this one, my relationship with God had evolved so much over the 16 years.
Yes.
And I had seen him do so much. And I was just having those conversations like, God, I know you ain't finna let me die with cancer. Like, is this how I'm gonna go out? Like, and and in those moments was when he was like, this ain't to death. I tell people all the time, when you are a minister, or when you don't even have to be a minister, when you decide that you want to live for God. And so many times we say, God, use us. Use us to show people the light. Use us to show people that you're real. Use us to bring souls to you. Well, I don't get to tell him how to use me.
Yes.
I just say, okay, use me. And this was one of the ways that he decided to use me. And as long as he said that it wasn't unto death, that means that he had given me the grace and the strength to endure whatever was coming my way. So I wasn't mad. Now, as a woman, I was like, so I am really fixing to have to cut off my breast to say it was, I am going to have a double mastectomy to save my
life.
So
you're having to you made the decision. You had your ovaries removed, which is a vital organ for us as women. And now your breast, which makes up a very important part of our physical being as women, regardless of the size of them. So now your whole body is beginning to transform to be a totally different body. How is that?
I will say this. I will say that as women, if you're faced with the choice do I continue to be vain to hold on to my breast? Or do I say, I want to live? And my choice was, I want to live. And so I'm a single woman. Okay. And so that part of it, I'm like, God, so you're going to have to make that man special. He going to have to like something else because these finna have to go. Okay. and literally I was saying, okay, these trying to kill me. This is the second time. And it went from one side to the other side. So in my mind, I was like, oh, y'all trying to take me out. Like before I even get a chance to live life the way I want to live it, before I get a chance to do some of the things that God want to do. And for me, it was like, Crystal, are you vain enough to hold on to these when these are trying to take you out of here? And
the
so
enemy.
for me,
The enemy. Yeah.
And for me, I wasn't that vain. Now, don't get me wrong. I mourned them. I mourned the loss of them before I even
talk about that. Because when we talk about the mourning and the grieving, talk about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
I did. I cried. I was like, listen, God, I'm finna have to lose this. I'm finna look a totally different way that I'm not used to looking. I'm gonna have to fall in love with myself all over again. Mine is certain parts. You understand? Because the breast is the physical part. Now, don't know about, with your ovaries, that's inside. Don't know about ain't nobody gonna know I ain't got no ovaries. Okay. But my breast is the physical outside part. And so I mourned the look of who I was used to looking at because I'm in my 50s. So I have been used to looking at this girl looking a certain way, being able to wear certain clothes, the plunge neck, the V neck, being able to wear all the clothes. And then now I'm forced with I'm forced to have to say, we got to change your look. Yeah. Because we got to save your life.
You got to save your life.
And so it was times that I cried. I had people that I could say, girl, I can't believe I got to lose my breast. I can't believe I got to lose my breast. And then my mind would say, but you're going to live though.
You're going to live.
And I had to make living more important than my physical being. Yes. I did. And so even after I had my surgery, because it's coming up on a year of me having my double mastectomy, I didn't go and get it. I opted out of getting any kind of work done.
Okay. Why?
Because I feel like that I had breast cancer twice. So I feel like anything that I put up there, it's a chance that it could back in a different way. And I don't want that.
So let me ask you this. And I like what you said. So is that what you just described? Is that preservation? Is that fear? Is it a preventive measurement?
Yeah, for me, because 16 years is a long time. And what I'm saying, and for me to go and say, okay, so I want some, so they'll have to put some up there. I have to have implants. The danger of it. Yeah. Because what if my body don't like the implant? So my body physically can reject the implant. So now it's okay, we got to get these out of here. We got to cut you to get these out of here. We got to let you heal. Then we got to start all over again. So for me, that's just too many surgeries for me. Yeah. I don't want to have to keep going under the knife. I am a beautiful person, inside and out, and I'm confident in that. And breast doesn't make me the person I am. My character makes me. My integrity makes me. My heart for God and his people makes me. So as long as I can keep those characteristics, because the word of God said that beauty fades. So as long as I keep the characteristics that matter the most which is not anything physical for me, I'm good. And I'm choosing not to have anything. Like, I'm not ever going to put anything up there. And for me, it's about making sure that I don't have to go down that road again, because that chapter is closed. I really believe in all my heart that I'm never going to have to visit cancer again. So it's no need for me to say, okay, so I got this going on, so let's just go. No, I feel like I'm a beautiful person inside and out, and I don't feel like I have to subject myself to do something that could be potentially dangerous for me later on down the line, just to be aesthetically pleasing to other people.
To others. So how long did it take you to be able to look at the new crystal in the mirror?
Immediately.
Good.
Immediately. And that was one of the reasons that I did it as well. I know a lot of women that have had breast cancer and they go and immediately have surgery. You know, once they heal up, they say, okay, well, I want to be able to look this way and I want to be able to look this way. And in my mind, I said, I want to fall in love with the new crystal. And if ever I feel like going and doing any kind of enhancements, then I can do that. But I need to love this one, the one that even after, medicine is so amazing now. Like, you can get bras and everything that give you that look. But I needed to love me. I needed to love me when nobody else saw me. I needed to love 100% me, because when I can love me, then I know that the love that I desire to have in a companion, in a husband, that love will exude. So immediately it's been a year. I haven't done anything but heal. So I said, you're going to love this new you. We're still learning how to dress in certain areas. We're still learning what fits and what doesn't fit. But I wanted to love me wholeheartedly. And I wanted to be happy with me wholeheartedly and what I see. Now, I will tell you this. What I thought was so amazing is when I got ready to have my surgery, the surgeon asked me, what do you want to look like when you look at yourself? And I said, well, I didn't even think you would ask me that. What you mean? And so she was like, what do you want your scar to look like? And I said, well, if I have to say, I would want it as flat as possible. Like, I would want it as flat as possible. And one of the things that I see when I see it, she stitched me back up with love and care. And I know that is hard for people to understand, but you can tell she took her time and stitched me back up. She stitched me back up to where she wanted me to be in love with myself when I see it. Like, it's no lumps, it's no bumps, it's no rises in my skin. She took her time and stitched me back up together.
My daughter had brain cancer, and she had 2 surgeries. Her first one was at Levine's Children's Hospital in Charlotte. Then her second one was at St. Jude at LeBarner's Children's Hospital in Memphis. A lot of the kids that had brain surgeries, their scars were so ragged and lifted, and they weren't pretty. But Aja's scar it was just straight and was pretty. And the doctor, he went in the same place that the previous doctor went into. And people would comment on her scar. And they would say, you didn't have your surgery at such and such place, because we could tell how nice and neat your scar is. So thank you for that. Because that's saying someone took the time. Someone took the time that when you looked at your scars, or if other people looked at the scars, they would know that it was intentionally done with care and grace.
When I saw her again for the checkup, I hugged her. And she was like, oh my God. I was like, no, it really made looking at my scar more bearable, because you can see it. something that you can see. You can see that she took her time, and you see that it was like a love and a care that she wanted me to have afterward, that she put into that moment in stowing me back up.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you. And I want to go back before we move forward, because you said at 35, when you were first diagnosed, you had a fiance.
Yes.
And you moved to Charlotte, and now you're single.
Yes.
So I would assume the relationship didn't work out.
No, it did not.
Okay.
But it didn't. What I will always tell people, I'm always thankful to him, and the time that I say that God lent him to me, because God knew that that was going to be a hard time for me. And for years, he felt, my ex at that time, he felt so guilty for even finding the lump, because he found it. And I was like, no, do you really know that you saved my life? Like, I don't want you to feel guilty, to have to watch somebody that you love lose their hair, go through all the treatments, go through surgery, still be a mom. At that time, I was still working as well. So I was going through chemo one day on a Friday, resting Saturday and Sunday, and still go to work on Monday, And so, but I used to tell him all the time, thank you for finding it, because you saved life. But just because I tell people, just because people are with you for a season, don't mean that they're supposed to be with you for a lifetime. And we're still cordial. We still, if we see each other or speak or anything like that, we still speak. It was no hard feelings or anything like that. It just wasn't what God had in plan for my life, or me in plan for his.
Yes.
And so, but he was there for that time in that season.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that for us. The double mastectomy, you're learning to like yourself, look in the mirror and love yourself. And I like to call that being naked.
Yes.
And it's a song out, Will You Love Me Naked? So the next man that comes into your life.
Yes.
He's going to have to love you naked.
He is. And because he's going to be sent by God, he already have the grace to do that. And that's a lot of what people don't, when you are looking for a kingdom spouse, and when you're looking to do the work of God with somebody, with your purpose partner, they already have the grace that they need to love the spots of you and love you through the season. So when he comes, he's going to find me doing the work of the Lord. He's going to find me living life. He's going to find me happy with everything. He's going to find me happy with myself. So he's just going to be a reflection of God's love. I'm complete because I'm complete in Jesus. So my husband is not going to complete me. We're going to complement each other. And that's a big, big difference. So God is already downloading into him the grace to love the fact that I don't have any breasts, the grace to love the fact that I've had to have a total hysterectomy. He's going to love the fact that I'm a prayer warrior. He's going to love the fact that I bring him peace. He's going to love the fact that I bring him joy. He's going to love the fact that we're able to do kingdom work for God together. That's what he's going to love. So he's also going to love the fact that I've survived cancer 4 times. Like, he's going to be proud of that because I've survived this, so God can bring us together so we can do what we need to do in the kingdom. So I fully believe that when my husband finds me, that he already has the grace in him to love the parts that I don't have.
Yes. Yes. And that's it. And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Regardless of, because our scars may not be losing our breasts. We could say the breast is a metaphor for the scars, but we've all endured a lot of different scars. And as women, we want everything that you just said in a man. And I know for me, going through some of the things that I've gone through, addiction, abuse, and the grief of losing my daughter, when I met my husband, I had to tell him the truth. I had to be honest about my past and who I was. But before that, I had to learn to forgive myself for my past, to love myself despite of my past, and to know that my past is not who God has delivered me from that. Yep. And he has a purpose for me now.
Yes.
And we can come together and you could accept me and love me, or
you can't, because you can't change the past.
Yeah. Can't change, or I can continue on. And so I'm so grateful for my husband that he has loved me through my past, and he's still loving me and, supporting me with the things that I'm doing, because I feel I'm on a mission. Yep. And I have to be transparent about who I am. So it doesn't matter what other people think.
Yeah.
I have to be transparent in order for my mission to be fulfilled.
Yep. Yeah.
Pretty much like you.
Yeah. Like my past is what makes me the person that I am today. So the person that people see is because of the past experiences. It's because of past lessons. It's because of the past mistakes, but it's also because of the past joys. It's because of the past happiness. It's because of the past peace. So for me, I'm fully confident that my husband is gonna find me, and that man gonna be happy, because he gonna be like, babe, you done fall a long way. I'm so happy to get to you. Thank you. So
yes, I'm here. I am here. Oh gosh, this has been so good. So you went 1, 2, 3.
Yes. And 4. It is freezing. Okay. It's unfrozen.
Okay. Yeah, it's frozen. So
okay.
We had one time the ovarian cancer, no breast cancer, ovarian, breast cancer. Then what's the 4th time?
The ovarian decided to make a reappearance. So what happened when I had ovarian? So the kind of ovarian that I had was double rare. So they had to send it off to John Hopkins, because nobody could tell them what was going on. So what it ended up being was I have a rare type of ovarian. I had a rare type of ovarian cancer that it can come back and it can grow where the ovaries were. So even though I didn't have any ovaries, the type of cancer that I had could come back and grow in the place of where my ovarian was. So while I was just trotting along, fighting the 3rd one, I caught a pain in my back, and I thought that it was something else. And so I told my doctors, I was like, listen, I've been drinking soda a lot lately. I know I shouldn't, but I was. And I think I may have a kidney stone. Can we do a scan? And so they was like, yep, we can do a scan. And we did the scan. And in that scan, they saw a growth. So while I was literally going through chemo January of this year of 2025, the ovarian cancer made a reappearance while I was doing chemo for the breast cancer.
2 cancers at one time.
2 cancers at one time.
How does a person survive that? How does a person fight that?
Faith. I tell it, my relationship with God is so strong, because I was like, God, now listen, I can't speak to everybody else's relationship with God, but me and God relationship, I'm honest. I was like, God, now I know you joking. You is up there playing with me, because I know these people did not tell me that. Like, come on now. At that point, I was like, God, how much more you think I can take? And then my doctor here, because again, my breast cancer doctor is in Alabama. My ovarian doctor is here in Charlotte, where I live. And I was like, she calling. I was like, girl, she was like, oh my God. And so
We couldn't because I was in the middle of chemo. So I had to finish that on out. I had to finish the chemo on out. We couldn't even do anything about the ovarian until I finished doing everything about the breast. So we knew it was there. We knew it was a reoccurrence. We just didn't know how extensive because I could not do anything. So I had to finish Cancer Center in Montgomery, ring the bell, because I run that bell in March, I want to say March. And so that was 4 treatments there. May have been April. That was 4 treatments there. So I came home from ringing the bell and being victorious and not having breast cancer to coming home to Charlotte, sitting down with my doctor, putting a plan on ovarian. So I rung that bell, came home, got a rest, a month rest, literally days. Then had to go have surgery and start the journey to ovarian.
So what did that month rest look like? Were you truly able to rest?
No.
Or was your mind concentrating on what you had before you?
No, I wasn't able to rest. I mean, I rest in God. So that was, but it was like, okay, so listen, girl, we got to fight again, you know? And I allowed myself to, I'm really big on allowing yourself to feel.
Yes.
Get it out you.
Yes.
So I cried a couple of times and I was like, God, I know that, like, come on now. I ain't been through enough. This was round 3. I ain't been through enough. But unfortunately, no, because I had to fight for round 4. And so I end up having surgery. And I'll never forget this. And this is why I say you also have to pray about the doctors you have as well. Because I always tell God to send me doctors that for one have a love for him and really have a love for patients. So I remember my doctor, Dr. Casa LaBlanca at Levine Cancer Center. She was like, listen, so we going to have to cut you. And I was praying. I was like, Lord, please don't let them cut me. Like, I'm tired of being, physically cut. Let her be able to go in and zap it like she did. I was like, then God, I won't have such a harsh recovery if she just go in and zap it, And I remember praying to him, but she was like, no, I feel like, this is what she said. She said, I feel like I need to cut you. I feel like I need to look around and see what's going on. And I kept saying, God, she is going to zap me. I don't care nothing about her wanting to look around. I was like, that ain't, she ain't going to be looking around. She going to zap and we going to get on and keep on living life, And she was so determined. She was like, listen, I need you to, it was around the time with my church that we have an event called She Favor. So I was a speaker at She Favor. I was like, listen, I can't be doing all this extra stuff. Like, I got to go to She Favor, ma'am. I wait all year for this. And she was like, when you got to do what you got to do? And I was like, Saturday. She said, well, Sunday, I need you to do what I tell you to do. So she almost made me go through the thing like if you're having a colonoscopy. And she was like, I need you to be completely clean because she was bound, determined to cut me. And I was like, I don't want her. I was like, God, fix it. Get my prayer warriors. I was like, I want to be zapped. Okay. She was like, no. She was like, I'm going to cut you. I need for you to do what I asked you to do. So I was obedient. I did everything that she asked me to do. And she heard the voice of God. She literally heard the voice of God. Because when she cut me, one of my church mothers that I call auntie, she was up there because my daughter came, but she had to leave. And she has a recording. And when she cut me, she heard the voice of God telling her that she needed to cut me. Because what she found was one tumor on the surface, which is the one we found when I was going through breast cancer treatments. But what she found was 15 more tumors under the surface. So if she had never cut me, she would have never saw them because they was under the surface.
15.
15. On May 19th of 2025, she took out 16 tumors out of my stomach. And 15 of them was hiding under this layer of my stomach. So they wasn't visible to the naked eye. So had she just zapped me, I wasn't able to see them.
Wouldn't be able to get to them.
Because she was like, no, I want to cut you open and look around and see what's going on. And she cut out 16 tumors. 16.
16. I really don't know what to say right now. All I can say is, but God.
But God. Like,
But
she heard the voice
you
of
know,
God.
with God, because he always shows up. He always shows out, and especially if we just listen to him.
Yeah. She heard
He
the voice of
direct
God.
our paths.
She heard the voice of God. She heard the voice of God. And I'm so grateful because they could have just been here, and by the time they start showing up, ain't no telling what would have happened.
Yes.
So she
yes.
heard the voice of God. And I'm thankful. I tell her that all the time. I was like, I'm so thankful that you cut me. And yes, the recovery was longer because anytime they cut you
Yes.
it was longer, and that was tedious. And then so after that, I think they gave me probably like 6 weeks, and then we started chemo again. So as of October the 23rd, I have completed 10 chemo treatments at 2 different cancer centers for 2 different cancers in the year of 2025 of our Lord and Savior. Okay.
So the name of the podcast is the Gail Estella Survival Podcast. The name of my book is Through It All. You survived all of this through it all, and you're still smiling.
Yes.
You're still standing. You're still honoring God and still loving God, because a lot of people might have gotten angry with God and turned away from God. Do you ever feel that you went through a depressive mode or a depressive state?
I don't. I didn't have time.
Didn't have time.
I
You were
know a
busy
lot
hiding.
of people say that, but I didn't have time to sit in that.
The woes knees.
Yeah, when you hear that you have cancer, even one time, if you take it and allow it, cancer can only take from you what you allow it to take from you. So if I allow it to take my joy, if I allow it to take my peace, if I allow it to take my faith, if I allow it to take my smile, if I allow it to take my testimony, if I allow it to take these things, then it takes these things. But if I don't allow it to take these things, it can't take these things. So no, I'm not mad at God. I've documented this journey, and I can't tell you how many people that they're not even dealing with cancer. Cancer is just what God chose for me to deal with.
Yes.
But the courageousness, the resilience, the tenacity to be able to keep going when life is going to life. Okay. But when life is life and God is still on the throne, God is still who he is, no matter. Listen, God is still good. He is still sovereign. He is still faithful. He is still merciful. The fact that I beat cancer 4 times doesn't change who he is. My circumstances, my situations, none of that changes who God is. And so if I allow circumstances and if I allow situations to dictate my relationship with God, no. Because each and every time that I've told you something happened to me, God made sure that he was in it before anything got out of the way and got out of control. The hurting in the back, found the scan. I had just taken a scan a couple of months before that. So he put it there so they can find it. Them making me saying, hey, make me feel better. And them having to do a biopsy on me was the way of God saying, we're going to get this spot. That spot was as small as a peanut. It wasn't even big as a peanut. And he allowed them to see it. The second time, my stomach randomly hurt it. It was just a random stomach ache. And I did not like the way it felt. So yes, if I look at the fact that I have fought cancer 4 times, I could, woe is me. Oh my God, why is this happening to me? God, I can't believe that I had to go through this and I had to go this. But if I look at the fact that I have beat cancer 4 times, it's all about your mind. It's all about your perspective. It's all about how you look at it. So yes, I've had cancer 4 times, but I've also beat cancer 4 times.
Yes.
And that's more important than having it 4 times.
And what's as important, you rung the bell for the 4th time.
I did that, yeah.
You rung the bell for the 4th time, but you did something I've never seen before. You were dressed up. You had on this pretty dress and your high heels.
I did.
Tell us your whys.
Because that was a celebration with everything that I've been through. My God, that moment deserved to be celebrated. And so I said, you know what? We're getting cute. I had my daughter dressed up. We had on our little fascinator hats and our little lace gloves. That was a celebration moment. When you've been through as much as I've been through with fighting cancer, every moment deserves to be celebrated. But also the fact that I have done 10 chemos, 2 different chemos, 2 different cancer centers, 2 different cancers. Baby, we were celebrating that. That deserved to be celebrated.
Yes, and you did. And
I did.
You did it. You did it beautifully as well. You did it beautifully. And I literally had tears in my eyes when I saw that. I'm like, I've never seen this. I've never seen
now
it.
I want to start a trend when you get ready.
Yeah, and that's what. So hopefully other women will see the same thing and be like, I'm getting ready to get dressed up. Because a lot of times, no, I'm not going to go there with that. But yes, hopefully women will look at it and see whether it's breast cancer, whatever it is we're ringing the bell for.
Absolutely.
We do it with dignity. We do it looking pretty and not wearing what we've gone through.
Nope. Yes, baby. And let me tell you, that cancer center was packed out. I had like 30 of my support system there. And those was the ones that could come. The valet had told them she was like, listen, whoever it is that y'all up there, because a lot of y'all came down here, whatever celebrity that y'all is up there seeing, make sure I get a picture with them when they come down. So when I came downstairs, she was like, is it you? And I was like, yeah, friend. And she was like, come on, we finna take this picture. I was like, yes, friend, get this picture. So it was packed out. I walked around that corner and it was wall to wall of my loved ones and my friends and my family came out to celebrate. And it was like my sister and my niece and my great nephew and my great niece, they drove from Alabama, which was like 6 hours. I did not know they was coming. That was just the highlight, just coming around that corner and seeing my family and coming around that corner and seeing my family. It was just the highlight of it. My nurses was over there. They were crying like it was just and I had already told everybody, I said, y'all know I'm a G now. Y'all know I'm a G. I said, but I'm going to cry when I ring this bell. I said, this has been an emotional journey. And I said, when I ring this bell, this one right here is personal. And all of them was personal, but this one right here, like having 2 cancers in one
time,
fighting the way that I've had to fight and still encouraging people, because this is the one thing, when you are doing what God tells you to do, God wasn't going to allow me to sit in the emotion of it all. He was like, listen, go spread your light, go and help somebody else. Like, you know what to do. It's people that are starting this that have no idea what to do, that you have close contact with. Help them through this journey. Yes. Show them what to do. It's people that's watching you. Show them how you can stand in the face of adversity. Show them what God is, what the relationship with God looks like. You know, we always talk about faith. We always talk about how good God is. But when life starts life and some of us fold, show them that you're not going to fold. Show them that you're going to praise me in good and bad times. So, baby, that bell ringing was so emotional. And I was like, let's go. Let's seal this thing, honey. Seal it.
This isn't to death.
It isn't unto death. That's what he said.
And before the sake of time, I want to ask you about Motivational Mondays, because you just said what your purpose is now. And you said something else. People are watching.
Yes.
And people do watch.
Yes.
So tell the audience about your Motivational Mondays.
So Motivational Mondays is something that I will do, and I will get on there and just speak about life and how your relationship with God can encourage you to continue to shine the light that he given you to shine and continue to be who he wants you to be in the face of adversity. And what I mean by that is when you're fighting, you don't have to hide when you're fighting. I found a lot of times that when we're going through something, we go and we retreat. And then we come back out after we've won the battle and tell people, oh, God is so good. Oh, God is so amazing. God did that thing for me. But you didn't show anybody how he did that thing. And so when I found out the third time, that's what God said. He said, show them how I'm going to bless you. Show them the battle. And that's what I did. So Motivational Monday is going to be me going on my social media platforms and just encouraging people to keep being and keep going and develop a relationship with God if you don't have one. I can tell you 100% my relationship with God, my faith and prayer is what has gotten me through the other side of this. He blessed me so much with so many amazing people here in Charlotte, but I have tribes. I used to live in Florida. I used to live in Birmingham. I lived in Gaston, so I have met so many amazing people, but it's about just knowing that you were called for a purpose and knowing that it's going to be bumps along the way. You know what I'm saying? The ride of life is like this. And as long as you got God, you're not falling off the boat. You're not jumping over the cliff. God is not going to allow you to be out of his will. And so Motivational Mondays is just a reminder to get back in there and fight. Don't allow the life and the stress of life to take you away from where you know you want to go, and just get in there and keep fighting, because eventually, yes, it will rain, but eventually that sun has to come out. And understand this, the sun doesn't ask permission to shine. It just shines because that's what it was created to do. So you don't have permission. You don't have to ask nobody's permission to do what you was created to do.
Yes.
Nobody.
You don't have to ask anyone's permission. Just do it. Yes. Just do it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tell us how to find you. Tell the audience how to find you on your social media platforms.
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook as Crystal Calhoun, TikTok as Coach DeVarier, and Instagram, I think it's God's Baby. But just type my name in there and then you will see it. So you can find me on all those social media platforms. I go live mainly on Facebook, but I'm finna start doing stuff on TikTok as well. So follow me. Like we going higher, and it's launch time. So
follow her. Yes, follow her. This isn't unto death.
No.
The battle has been won, Minister Crystal Calhoun.
Yes, it has.
Thank you. This is the Gail Estella Survival Podcast. I have one more question for you with 3 answers.
Okay.
What has helped you to survive?
First, my relationship with God. that undoubtedly have been the most important thing for me, to make sure that I'm staying in a place of prayer, that I stay consecrated before the Lord, and that, again, I didn't get to tell the Lord how to use me. I just told him that he can use me at his will, at his random. So my strong relationship with God, the faith that I have in God and trust in God. The second thing is my children. Although my children are grown, my biological children and my spiritual children, because I have spiritual children as well. And although they're grown, I still want to see them grow. I still want to see them. It's promises that God made to me about my kids that I know that has to come to pass. So I want to see those promises come to pass. I want to be a grandmother. I want to see them get married. I want to see them be all who God created them to be. So my faith in God, my children, and knowing that God is not done with me, that helped me, and my support system, my church family, my tribe of people, knowing that God has made me promises that hasn't come to pass yet, and I want to see those promises come to pass. So to be able to help somebody really said, I ran across a video of yours, and because of you talking and your faith in God made me not want to give up.
I love it. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You are truly an inspiration.